me?
You didn't have your headphones on. How did you know she said hello?
Oh, I saw her picture.
Oh, okay.
We're in sync.
I was like, that was amazing.
I saw her. I said hi. Happy New Year. How are
Happy
you?
New Year. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Doing well. It's busy weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You get a 3-day?
Yeah.
Yes, which
Nice.
is actually got out at 2 o'clock. Well, 3 o'clock on Friday. So that was,
You get 3.5 days.
yeah, right. But yeah, my folks came over today and my niece to watch the Pats Colts game. So that was
Yeah.
fun. But I was just rewatching. Well, I think I rewatched about 3/4 of Glee. So.
Me too. That's about where I left off before it was time to start.
Oh, good. So. And how are you doing? Are you still?
Good. Yeah, I'm farther north now.
Oh, okay. Where?
I'm in Yuba City, so it's about like 40 minutes out of Sacramento,
Okay.
like north of Sacramento.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's culture difference, but you know, I have a job, so that's all that counts.
That's important.
That's great.
Because I wasn't finding one in the Bay Area,
Mm.
Wow.
but it's very different here.
What's the town known for?
That I don't know. We're right next to Marysville, and they've got a sleep train amphitheater. That's yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've been here for about 1.5 years, and I still don't really know very much about it.
Oh.
'Cause I work in a completely different town, so I spend most of my time there.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, that's hard. When I first moved out here, I was living in LA but working in Orange County. And, it's only 55 miles, but when it takes you an hour and a half to get between places, you kind of have two separate lives. And that's
exactly.
yeah.
Well,
That's-
Ed is in the hotel, is what he just texted.
Oh, good.
I think we'll go ahead and
Wow.
start, and
Okay.
then we'll just bring him in when he arrives. Let me just
See how
look.
good the hotel Wi-Fi is.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna start.
That was very musical.
Join.
We're gonna start.
I don't know if he's doing the hands, but I did the hands.
Yeah, right?
Well, we'll give him 5 minutes because
Okay.
it'll be easier if he's already here. Obviously, Josh and Jen's camera's not working. Don't know why. So that sucks. We apologize. You have to look at this gleeful podcast. I should just get a picture of us and put
Actually-
that there. So we're like,
I feel like I'm talking to a Dalek right now.
Yeah. Can you put up a picture of us right now? Do you
yeah.
have one of us that I don't dislike? It's two separate
No
questions.
comment.
Oh, you're dead! It's
Hey,
Ed!
there's Ed.
Wow.
Ed, are you there? Are you getting your microphone working? Ed. No Ed.
He's logging in. Take a moment. Oh, it felt good. Just cracked my neck.
All right. There he is.
Hey,
Hey.
Hi!
what's up? Hey, how's everyone?
We're good. How are
Good,
you?
how are you?
Adventure.
I just got back from the mission. Had a good time, had a few company paid for drinks.
Nice.
So,
No.
Those are the best kind of drinks.
Probably shouldn't have admitted that on camera.
no, you're allowed to get 2 drinks per day with my work policy.
All right.
And that is all I had. So,
No.
whatever. And they were only $5 each.
Wow.
They should be paying me. Oh wait, they are.
Where did you find $5 drinks in San Francisco?
I went to the Monk's Kettle.
Okay.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
was
But if my
epic.
brother still lives there, he'd go there immediately.
I was like $5 drinks. In LA would be a miracle.
Okay, they were $5.50 if that changes anything,
Oh,
but it
It
doesn't.
really doesn't. Under $6 is fantastic.
All right.
But did I miss things? I'm sorry if I missed.
No, we're good. We're gonna fire up.
Yeah.
Let's just fire up.
More.
Get the show on the road. Live. All right, and here we go. Recording.
Stayed in bed all morning just to pass the time. There's something wrong here, there can be no denying. One of us is changing, or maybe we've just stopped trying. And it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it. Something inside us died, and I can't hide, and I just can't fake it. Oh no, 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 oh no, no, no. It used to be so easy living here with you. Here with you. You were light and breezy, and I knew just what to do. Now you look so unhappy, and I feel like a fool. I feel like a fool, and it's too late.
Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Sammy.
Good evening, Josh.
Hey, welcome.
Woo!
Yes.
Nicely done.
Welcome to the Gleeful Podcast with Josh and Ed. We are joined tonight by Sammy. You can find us online at gleefulpodcast.com, on Twitter at gleefulpodcast. I'm at Josh Burnell. She's at Jenny B Creative. He's at Edward Giordano. And Sammy, where can we find you?
Sammy Higgins on Twitter. SAMIHIGGINS.
And Jennifer, I'm 2 for 2. Not screwing up the intro.
That is impressive.
High five. We are live currently on a beautiful Sunday evening where nobody has to work tomorrow. What?
What? No, I have to work tomorrow. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Some people don't have to.
You'll be knowing.
If I don't have to work tomorrow, that's no one. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, I can accept that logic.
Gosh.
That sounds appropriately narcissistic for even myself.
I try. I thank you for giving me something to aspire to. But we are joined with Sammy, joined by Sammy tonight. We're going to try to get some of the listeners in to co-host for the rest of the season because we only have so much Glee left to discuss. It's counting down, man. We're at like 9 episodes left, I think.
No, 10.
10 episodes left. Like,
Yeah.
we're counting down very quick. So, Sammy, since last we spoke to you, you were living in a different place and unemployed. Now you are living in a new place and employed. Congratulations.
Yes.
And you have a phone. So
I
explain
do.
how you went a year and a half without a phone.
Oh my god.
It's really not a funny story. It was that I was out of work, and then my parents have been out of work, so I've been helping them out, and so I just didn't really have the money for it. So, you know,
I was just thinking logistically, but no, that's. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I mean, logistics-wise, first it sucks, and then you just deal with it. I have a laptop, so.
I mean, how do you Tinder without a phone? Like, you have to do it in person, right? And that's
I
just.
don't even know what Tinder is. It's been that long.
Did you just swipe people in person?
By the way, my married husband knows what Tinder is, but I don't.
You know.
That's alarming.
He's doing it for friend finding.
There we go. I'm just looking.
Absolutely.
Just like Grindr is for finding gym buddies. Mhm.
I don't
Josh
know
is looking
that
for
much
fellow
about.
soccer fans.
There you go.
Wow.
I don't know that much about your community, Ed, but I think gym buddies doesn't mean what I think it means.
No, I mean it's like one of the listed, like, you could use this for hooking up, connections, or the ever elusive networking. Like, oh yeah, I'm networking right now.
I am networking with my genitalia.
That's what I tell my boyfriend when I'm on Grindr. I'm networking.
Just networking. What's the problem?
Yeah. Wow, we're off to a great start.
We're off to a smashing start, kids. So here we are. We are at season 6, episode 3, technically.
3.
And this episode entitled Jagged Little Tapestry. This is our mashup episode between Carole King's seminal breakup album Tapestry and Alanis Morissette's horribly overplayed in the 90s breakup album Jagged Little Pill, which you'll notice right off the bat. I was a young man in the 90s, and we literally had a radio station in Ventura. There were 2 modern rock radio stations in the city where I grew up. One of them played modern rock, and the other one, on its posters, said modern rock without Alanis Morissette. Because
Wow.
she was so overplayed in 94, 95.
I remember the day that I was purchasing that, and I was in like some store when I was buying other stuff, so it's going down the conveyor belt, and the girl is ringing it through, but there's a guy, bagging my stuff, and he picks it up and he looks at it and he goes, I've got one in the car I don't want anymore. You can just take that. I should have followed him out.
It was inescapable in the mid-90s, the Jagged Little Pill record. And the funny thing about this episode is as they are talking about it, and they say, yeah, Tapestry's so old school, and then, Jagged Little Pill is like modern, edgy, and current. And I'm like, no, it is 20 years old.
Well, they even said that right before that. They said celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
And then I think it was Kurt who said, like, these kids don't even know what Tapestry is. And I'm like, these kids don't know what Jagged Little Pill is either. But apparently they know enough. So I'm going to ask you guys, Ed, what is your history with Tapestry and or Jagged Little Pill?
Well, let's see. I remember Alanis Morissette had an album in 2003-ish that caught my attention. definitely. So that's when I learned about the Jagged Little Pill. But probably legitimately American Idol covers and The Voice and X Factor. And I know for a fact the only reason I really know Tapestry is because of Carole King Week on American Idol season 10. Top 6. Because that's when Haley Reinhart did Beautiful, and it was amazing.
That was amazing. I do remember that quite vividly. And Sammy, were you raised correctly and instilled with a great love of Tapestry?
It wasn't ever an album that was owned in my house, but it was always the songs were always heard on the radio, on the stations that my parents listened to. Same with Alanis Morissette, because I was probably about 9 or 10 when that album came out, and yeah, 3-4 years straight, you heard those songs all the time. Saw them on MTV all the time. So yeah, I know all of those songs.
What was the song? Okay, you're gonna. There was a music video. The song wasn't so great, but she was naked and at a party. That was my first impression of Alanis Morissette, and then
it was called Thank You, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from her India period. It was off
Yeah.
of supposed former infatuation junk.
So that was my first introduction to Alanis Morissette, and then my next real Alanis Morissette introduction was when she did that Seal cover that was played all over the radio, at least in Indiana. It was played all over. Crazy, I believe was the name.
Really?
It was for her greatest hits. It was like the new track on her greatest hits album, and that cover was played all the time on the radio.
I don't remember that.
At least in Indiana markets. But in the Indiana market, we had this weird thing in 2006-07 that we really, really liked the Cranberries all of a sudden again. For real, they would play the Cranberries, but I'm sure other people also knew. So we got so many requests that we had this weird 2006-2007 where we worked our way through the entire Cranberries catalog on 101.9 The Mix.
Wow. The cranberries of all things to dig up from the ether is an interesting place to go, especially from that period. Like I could see them digging up garbage because at least Shirley Manson's still around and Butch Vig is everywhere. But like to dig up the cranberries, it's like no one's heard from them.
No, I'm not joking. In 2006, in Chicagoland region, Dreams was like the third biggest song, like for whatever, like for no apparent reason. I thought it was new because they were playing it like it was new, and then so much so that our top 40 station 103.5 would also play Dreams because it got so much airplay on 101.9. It was very Chicago's weird. That's my takeaway.
Well, that's it for the.
I guess we all have our quirks.
This
every
is
area.
Josh, Jed, Ed, and Sammy for the Cranberries cast.
Wow.
No, nothing. I didn't get even a chuckle on that. That was a solid joke. See, Sammy's laughing at all of my jokes. She's just not laughing into the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I
She's
could just see
being
it on the
polite.
camera.
You can see me laughing.
You
There
don't
you
have
go.
to be polite.
My wife, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go around. We will discuss the episode Jagged Little Tapestry. Jennifer, how did you feel about the episode?
I liked it. I felt they are totally embracing season 1 without care or concern for like how they've come here. So it was nice in that certain things felt familiar, and I'm sure we'll talk about what those things are. But I also felt like it didn't have as much heart and commitment as the first 2 episodes. So I'm gonna give it a B+.
Interesting. That's actually that's kind of articulating how I would feel. It was lacking a certain amount of heart and commitment. I also felt it really, as Glee has want to do and really seems to love to do, it in its attempts to be unique, different, brave, edgy, it can be very disrespectful of the things that it purports to love.
Right.
And
to
so-
protect and defend.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard. But I will say, Kurt and Blaine's duet was one of my favorite Glee performances in a very, very long song.
Oh,
very long
it's too
time.
late that we opened up with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean it's a fantastic song, but their duet, they're harmonizing, and just everything that was coming across in it, even with the flashbacks and the video montage, it was really like that was just such a fantastic moment. I could have actually ended the episode right then.
That was definitely that was a great sequence, and they looked really good in that one. Ed, how did you feel about Jagged Little Tapestry?
I'm gonna give it a B-, and I have 2 specific flaws that I like to point out. Much like what they did on the duets episode in season 2, where they talked about how everyone's gonna do a duet, and then they like cut like everyone didn't do a duet. I was watching and I was like, okay, there's only 2 sets of 2. There is no way Glee is going to make the promise of everyone's doing it and not everyone deliver it. And then they said everyone is, and then the other 2 didn't do it. I was like, what? I wanted Twin Girl and Guy.
I know.
Yes.
Actually,
Stuff.
I was shocked that Roderick.
Like, come on. That was fun. Like, you don't have 12 members yet, and I already know how you're gonna roll this. Like, it's gonna be sectionals, and you're gonna magically poof out of your genie bottle 6 members from Cheerios, which hopefully will include Kitty, because I mean, like, why not? At least try for the 2.0s. She's our sole representative, and then strike 2 is somehow in Kurt's like complete selfish, like where he like was taking everything out that he had in personal life onto everything, and I was like, oh, thankfully Rachel will put him in his place, but Kurt is still a hero. How is Kurt still a hero in this? It was just like I was like at the end I was like legitimately mad that Rachel was like, oh, it's really great that you were completely irrational. I'm like, are you joking me right now, Rachel Berry? Are you joking me? Like, so B-, it was a good episode. I'm not gonna lie, it was fine. But I was like, I don't know. I was just like, come on. You have like 2 promises and you can't meet it. Fine. Well, then why can't Kurt be the enemy once? Like, why is that so terrible? Or the thing is in episode 1 and 2 of this season, Kurt was almost the enemy, but at the same time he was introduced as the enemy. He was also redeemed as like the savior of the relationship. So it's like, and then Karofsky's like way trying too hard. Like, no one is that into Blaine. Like, I could be dating Blaine. I'm like, dude, I'm not that into you. But I'm into Blaine.
The thing with Karofsky's whole, like, Karofsky as a character went from like overcompensatingly straight to overcompensatingly gay. And I mean, Max Adler's whole performance in this, where he was like, if I could just get this guy off the show tunes, am I right? I'm gonna drink a martini, go over here, and I just couldn't even do it. Like,
Yeah.
I like Appletinis a lot.
I know,
Cosmo.
but it was-
The problem with Karofsky. Sorry.
The
problem with Karofsky's character.
Go.
You're both on a delay. Sammy, you go.
I was saying, every time I see them on screen together, I'm just thinking, they desperately wanted that to be Sebastian, and then Grant Gustin got the Flash, and now, okay, that doesn't work. But that was what they wanted, because it doesn't make sense. Dave and Blaine, no.
That's a very good
Blaine
point.
never would have gone there, but it just, he looks, I mean, and maybe he's being, like, there's a world in which he's intentionally being over the top to make Kurt that much more jealous, but even still, it just looks ridiculous. It looks like he's cracking up delivering the lines that he's supposed to deliver in a somewhat manner.
That's totally true.
Because Karofsky has, like, I almost feel like the writers have always treated him like a one-dimensional character. He's been a one-dimensional character that has been, like, literally, it's like a Rubik's Cube, and you never get to see the Rubik's Cube. You just get to see one side of the Rubik's Cube at a time as it flips around. Because
it's only multidimensional in that he changes dimensions. He's like only one thing.
Yeah. He can only be one thing. Like, he was bully Karofsky, then he was like beat up Karofsky. Now he's like super gay. I'm in love with Blaine Anderson Karofsky. It's like he's multidimensional only if you could see the entire picture at once. Like, you're freaking Slaughterhouse 5 alien or something.
Which is actually kind of disappointing, because we saw some amazing acting out of him. We saw some amazing depth for, like, half a second.
A couple seasons ago. Yeah.
But yeah, it's we don't have enough time for that. So, like, okay, yes. This is just to move along the plot.
And finally, Sammy, we'll get to you. What did you think of the episode?
I gotta go. I'm torn between C- or C+ and B-, because there was, like, I was telling my mom, I was like, well, it was like 20% awesome, 20% painfully awkward, and then like 60% forgettable. So, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, there wasn't anything really bad about it other than just some really, really painfully awkward scenes. But I have to agree with what Ed said about Kurt, and it's kind of driving me nuts, and it's especially driving me nuts in the fandom. It's like everybody just suddenly forgets that Kurt's the one that callously dumped Blaine, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, poor Kurt, oh no, how could they do this to him? It's like, no, he's doing all of this to himself. Why are we still putting him up on this pedestal? Like, he's kind of a jerk.
he's kind of a jerk. Okay, legitimately, Tina did one thing wrong. Vapor Rubgate, and literally still suffering for that today. Jenna Uskowitz is like, Vapor Rubgate has ruined my life. It has impacted my career as an actress. That is what she's saying. Kurt, on the other hand, has done many a thing wrong, and he's like, I can't. I'm like, why? More efficiently. Not that the world's not being handled, just like, why is it happening more efficiently? I'm like, even in all of this, all the people dropping out of school, everyone, Kurt is still in school. Like, are you joking me? Joking me, Kurt. Come on.
It's work study program.
Yeah.
Apparently,
work study program.
School is.
I mean,
I kind of gets old, but Kurt can do no wrong. It's like, yeah, but he is.
Like,
so
that is the moral of Glee. Like, of all things, like, forget rooting for the underdog. That was season 1 bullshit. But now it is Kurt Kurt can do no wrong. Look at the whole story. Kurt can do no wrong.
Well, I mean, it's also we have to remind ourselves. Kurt is the youthful living embodiment of Ryan Murphy doing it right. So
Yeah, correcting his childhood.
This is him living or reliving his childhood.
But there's like literally 1,000 gay characters on Glee can comment a little bit more than he's doing.
I know. I was mostly joking, but
Well,
but I mean, even if you're right, which I'm not saying you're wrong, because you could be right. He could, but there's, as I said, there's 1,000 gay characters.
well, let's go ahead and.
Pick one.
what did you think, Josh?
Oh, I agreed with everyone. I think it's a C+ episode, and with some really incorrect moments, which we will detail in a moment. For a second, let's take a listen to "Hand in My Pocket," "I Feel the Earth Move" mashup, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about Britannia, or as I like to call it, Fan Service Weekly. So here is a bit of Britannia performing "Hand in My Pocket" and "I Feel the Earth Move."
What it all comes down to is that everything's gonna be fine, fine, fine. 'Cause I got one hand in my pocket and the other one is giving a high five. 'Cause I got one hand in my pocket. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel my heart start to trembling whenever you're everything's gonna be quite alright. 'Cause I got one hand in my pocket and the other one is flicking a cigarette.
Jennifer, I've always believed that the only thing to make a great song greater is to take another song and just play it at exactly the same time. And then you've got two great songs on top of each other.
So
they can only be better.
I mean, am I missing something? But I didn't really feel like this was like a mashup. I feel like they basically just made a new song and sang alternating lyrics.
I mean, they just kind of like.
I feel like they've
hodgepodged
altered
them,
it so much. Did I say altered? Altered it so much. I don't know. I just like. I feel like I didn't catch either song in this one.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess
It's
it's
just
so
a
hard
piece
for
of
me
it.
it's so hard for me to rectify because like "Hand in My Pocket" I find so abhorrent. But I don't know. I just didn't give a crap either way. Like good or bad, I didn't give a crap. Ed, thoughts?
I don't think the songs really make sense together.
No.
That being said, I love "I Feel the Earth Move" so much so that in like 2011 I was like obsessed with the idea of making a dubstep version of "I Feel the Earth Move." I was like obsessed with doing that. Like, oh, this is gonna break me into the industry and make me stand out so much. I'll be like James Blake doing "Limit of Your Love" or "Case of You," but Edward Giordano doing "I Feel the Earth Move." That never. Spoiler alert! That didn't actually happen. In case you didn't know.
Sammy, now I don't. What is?
I thought about it for a long.
Sammy, what is your background as a Britannia follower? Is that your thangity thing or what?
It kind of is now. I didn't like it, which it actually leads into a point I was going to make later, but the way they used to write for Britney, I really kind of creeped me out, the two of them doing together, because she had like the emotional maturity of a toddler.
Right?
And so I didn't like the two of them together, but now this new Britney, I mean, first of all, where have they been hiding Heather Morris's voice? Because the last, 2-3 episodes that she's been singing on, she's been amazing. Like,
Yeah.
where did that come from? And then I really like that they're writing her as an adult, and it doesn't make sense as a character because, the way they always wrote her, but I like it. And I like the two of them for it. So I didn't used to like them, but now I think that they're probably the healthiest relationship on the show.
I will give you that. They're probably the healthiest relationship on the show. They're kind of oddly, I don't know. There seems to be like an emotional thing that I don't really buy in it. Like it just feels a little fan servicey because I know everybody wanted it, and so then they kind of made it figured out a way to make it happen. But you're right. I mean, within the context of what we get to see, they actually do, like, they are supportive and caring of one another. I love when Santana knelt down to propose and somebody said, "What is happening?" And Puck just,
Roderick.
"Don't worry about it. It
He's
happens
the
all
new
the time."
Blaine.
Yeah.
Roderick's the new last man standing.
Yeah, they
Or last sane man standing.
Roderick's awesome. But yeah, I don't know. All in all, like the Britannia storyline, it was interesting because it happened and then nothing happened with it. Like Santana proposed and Brittany was like, awesome. And then the show went on with its life. Like, no.
Cool. Do you want them to get married in the same episode?
Well, I mean, usually if you introduce a storyline, like there has to be some conflict, right? Like there has to be a reason that this is happening, and there was no conflict whatsoever. It just kind of happened, and then everyone continued.
But then we got that fantastic Santana rant that I was like sitting there, I spit out my drink, and I was like clapping because really, I mean, it was perfect. It was everything that you wanted. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Kurt, but he needed it. He needed that rant.
He absolutely did, and I think that was the one great success. Jennifer, Britannia in this episode.
Yeah, I thought, okay, I agree with everything you guys have said. It is nice and it does feel healthy, but so I don't know if it's because, you know, the two actresses haven't been in a scene together. They just I felt like they were doing and saying the right things, but I didn't feel like there was any actual connection there. Yeah, like even when, you know, Santana's saying, you know, I love you, Britt, it's kind of like, yeah, I love you, Britt.
Yeah, there was a weird moment
It was like
where
a very unemotional.
yeah, well, and when they went to commercial, they were cuddling on the bed,
Yeah.
and they went to commercial, and she's like, you know, I love you, infinity, or whatever, and then Santana says, I love you, Britt, and you looked over to me, and you were like, is there like a subtext there where there's a problem? Because there was something on Naira Rivera's face where she felt almost disconnected, and I was like, I got the same thing. I think they're setting up some kind of drama, but
Right.
I guess they weren't.
But I mean, but my question to you is actually like, is there a subtext there, or is it just bad acting? Like I couldn't tell. Like I didn't know if it was intentionally awkward or if they're just going through the motions.
Yeah, I mean, it struck me as a little odd, but I obviously Sammy's on board with that, and you know, is there anything else to say, or should we move on to something a little interesting?
I think of all the relationships that Glee has manifested, it is the one. It's the one to support. I mean, that's all there.
God, yeah. No, I
That's all there is to it. I mean,
it was adorable. It was, you know, like the actual proposal, and when they sing together and they do everything else, and even like the little mounds, you know, filling up the giant heart vase with mounds.
Which apparently is a lesbian candy.
I guess. Well,
but almond joys are so much better though.
that's why mounds don't. Yay.
High five. No,
But there's so many of the right elements. I just thought, am I missing something, or am I just looking too hard at something? So
You're looking too hard, Britannia.
I-
This was you're supposed to be happy for Britannia, and we might maybe not get even another Britannia moment for that. This might be it. They just might be in the background at sectionals. Like this was it.
And
I
enjoy
agree.
it.
I think in a way, this is the show kind of buttoning up each of its characters, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Britannia again, it will only be in the context of them being in the background of somebody else's story. I really feel like this was the show saying, this is, you know, our goodbye to this relationship and to these characters.
You don't think they're going to show the wedding?
I doubt it. I mean, I think if we're going to get any wedding, it's going to
No.
Kurt and Blaine.
Yeah. But could you imagine how Tumblr would explode if the season ended with a Britannia wedding and not a Klain wedding? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I have to.
It would burn down. You know, I have to say there's one thing before we move on to the next plot line. The big thing that struck me about the Britannia storyline and then the Klain storyline, which we talked about a little earlier, was that for a show where we literally used to count kisses, I don't say we, I mean the royal we, other people used
The
to count
internet.
Klain and Britannia kisses on this show, I think it's kind of amazing that like we don't even think about it now, and that if you really go through this episode, I mean the amount of physical affection between those two couples was just played in flashback without really any incident. And that's kind of awesome that we've only in the few years this show has been on the air, and it possibly is that no one's watching, but that's not really an issue as much as it was, even 3 years ago. It's kind
Yeah.
of neat.
Well, I mean, if you think about like the other, couples that are still currently together, um, I guess
Who?
Puck,
Oh,
right? Am I wrong?
Oh, you mean Puck?
that's pretty much it. Quinn.
Yeah, they're still together.
Puck and Quinn?
Yeah. Well, I was wondering that because they didn't really address it.
Yeah, you're right.
But actually, Puck barely had. He had what, 2 lines in the show?
Oh yeah, I think he had 1 line in the entire episode.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like they did have like an exchange, and I mean that's at that stage in the relationship, that's very natural and very honest. Very
Yeah.
very real. And so the same thing with Brittany and Santana amongst other people. I thought like that. I feel like their relationship is depicted like a couple that's been together a year.
Yeah,
or
it's
two.
not a scene. It's not
Yeah.
a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get the one moment where Puck kind of leaned into Quinn, but I think he was just like whispering in her ear, like, "You need to have a darker hair shade if you're going to tan that much." Other than that, or
It's very, very light.
it's one thing or the other.
It's disconcertingly blonde.
It is. It's,
She's tan. She's more tan than she's
it's
ever been.
platinum. It is like way blonde.
But she's still
yeah.
gorgeous. I mean, come on.
Well, let's take a quick listen to Diana Agron and Jenna Ushkowitz performing "So Far Away." Here is "So Far Away" on the Gleeful Podcast.
It would be so fine to see your face at my door. It doesn't help to know you're just time away. Long ago I reached for you and there you stood. Holding you again can only do me good. How I wish I could, but you're so far away. One more song about moving along the highway. I can't say much of anything that's new. If I could only work this life out my way, I'd rather spend it being close to you. You're so far away.
That was "So Far Away" on the Gleeful Podcast, and it brings us to another interesting plot line in this episode. Was that Becky Jackson's college boyfriend came back to town. Apparently no one has anywhere to be, and it doesn't strike them as odd to spend all of their time in their high school. But Becky Jackson came back and has been lying to her boyfriend that she was a president of all of the clubs.
All of them. I think clubs that they don't even have at that school.
And this was another plot line to me, similar to the Britannia storyline, where I felt that this was really the show saying goodbye to a character, kind of saying, like, this is the last moment you're going to see Becky. We'll give her one last plot line to kind of go out on a nice note. And I
We
suppose...
should be so lucky.
What's that?
In my opinion, we should be so lucky.
Yeah, right. And in that way, I felt like because Becky's been a much smaller character than Britannia, like if this is the last time we say Becky, I think it's fine. But yeah, it was a lot of screen time for someone I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really know how to feel about Becky, going off into the sunset with a very nice boyfriend.
I feel like that guy was awesome. He was like I really, really liked the storyline, and yet you have Becky, and they write her as like a ridiculously unbelievable bitch. And it's like they really need to just tone it down a little bit on the writing and make it so like every other word out of her mouth isn't some kind of swear word, some kind of insult's fine, but like going for I'm not going to repeat the words. I don't know what my language needs to be like at this hour. But you know what I mean? Like every other word out of her mouth is like skink or bitch or whatever. And I'm like, that's just, how is anyone supposed to root for her? She's horrid.
She does have anger issues. But you know what? It's like we've seen Sue, you know, in find people that can look past her, you know, her anger issues and her, you know, not so niceness at times, and that kind of brings out, you know, the sweeter, softer side of Sue, and then, you know, life.
But we've also seen redeeming qualities in Sue that we've never seen in Becky.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
struggle with Becky as a
Yeah,
character.
Well, Becky has been for a very, very long time, just like angry and, you know, admittedly scared. I mean, she comes out every now and then and will say, you know, like, well, I was like, you know, I brought the gun to school because I was scared. I, you know, don't want to go to college because I'm scared, and a lot of different things. But, you know, I think because she's just been on the periphery, like Sue, it hasn't bothered me that much. It's been kind of like a, you know, like a mild interruption. And but I did think it was sweet, you know, people looking out for her. A little insulting though at the same time, kind of like,
Yeah, well, I really liked what her boyfriend had to say to all of them because he was absolutely on the money.
But at the same time, I feel like we've been with this show for a long time. Are these characters still so tone deaf to think that, you know, this dude obviously is, you know, has some kind of weird plan or whatever? Like, no one's learned anything in 6 years.
and seriously,
Well,
what?
no, I mean, it just pointed out their issues. And
Yeah.
it's like, they've never seen Becky have a boyfriend. They've seen her chase guys and talk about guys. They never actually see her have a boyfriend. So to them, that's their first assumption because, as he pointed out, that was their prejudice that they weren't even aware of.
Yeah, so in the end, I thought his speech was pretty great, and his reaction to it was pretty great. Yeah, you know, hey, if this is the last time we see Becky, and I think it probably will be, that was a nice way to see her go out with a very nice guy.
Or we'll see her the next time we see her, she'll be, you know, kinder and gentler, and it would be, you know.
Yeah. Which is so funny because Lauren,
abusive.
the actress who plays Becky, is the
know.
nicest
She's the
person alive.
It's adorable.
Could not be sweeter. When I saw her at that event, she was just like, she was the only person who was like eagerly looking for autographs to sign. Like,
Aw.
could not be nicer. So that was, you know,
so bummed I missed that night.
in that way, it was pretty adorable. And then we also have this Beast storyline, which I don't have a song to kick off, and we lost Ed, so hopefully Ed will come back.
Oh.
Ed, if you can hear us, we miss you. But so we had this. Oh, Ed's back. So we had this Coach Beast storyline where first she says she's going to have surgery on her knee, and then eventually that turns into Coach Beast supposedly having cancer, and then in the end we find out that Coach Beast wants to transition into being a man. And I have, you know, and I've gotten angry emails in the past that I don't use pronouns correctly in these particular cases, so I'm not sure what pronoun to use for Coach Beast. So I, you know, mea culpa, I'm not being insulting, whichever pronoun comes out. But this was a hard plot line for me. This one bothered me a lot because Coach Beast has always been a fascinating, sweet, one-of-a-kind character to me because Dot Marie Jones is obviously a very masculine woman and has always played very masculine women on TV. You'll see her in a million episodes of Big Bang and 2.5 Men, and she always plays some kind of butch lesbian, and it's always some kind of mean character. Coach Beast gave Dot Marie Jones the opportunity to play a nice, you know, to really play the duality of who she is as a woman, someone who appears very masculine, but deep inside is still a girl, still has a feminine side, even though it's not really prominent, and really play the duality of a masculine-looking woman. And now the show is playing into exactly the stereotype, like exactly the punchline that Dot Marie Jones plays in every other show, where she's just a woman who wants to be a man. And to me, I was really bothered by this storyline. I found it to be very just kind of diminishing to the things we've seen Beast go through on this show, and then to diminish it just felt like a really cheap way to go out with that character.
Not to mention, Glee has a really, really, really bad track record of handling these things.
Exactly.
So it was kind of like, I could see this, except for the fact that I know that either we'll never hear about it again, or they're going to completely botch it. So it's kind of like, you kind of want to see a story like that on TV because you don't get that in major shows and stuff like that. But at the same time, you don't want to see it on Glee because they're going to mess it up.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's going to be offensive.
good justice. I mean, that is part of the problem. I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, Josh. I mean, in that I think I'm not taking the same offense to the actress or the character or anything like that. It's just, to me, it seems like it could be plausible. She in the moment is still female. She likes men. She's still going to like men, but she feels like she should have the body of a man. And I mean, maybe if they can, give it any more screen time and maybe show a little bit more of what this this person's struggle is, I'd be okay with that. Like, I'm not so married to the idea that like, yeah, it was Shannon was at her heart a girl. She loved boys. She fell in love. She got married. She had crushes. She'd never been kissed. We got to experience all those things with her, and now this is just another phase, or not another phase. This is like the next stage. Phase makes it sound like it's
Oh yeah.
Wow, Ed came back with a video.
Our camera.
Yeah, you guys have been talking, so I was going to say, hey, it's nice to see you, but you guys were making good points, so I was like, okay.
So yeah, I'm reserving judgment, I'm going to say. I was, the second we saw her taking pills and so forth.
Yeah, you called it right away.
Yeah. It was like,
and I said no way, because the show has been so respectful to her as a person.
And I don't.
Well, that's not disrespectful to have her be transgender.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah, I'm
you're
not.
absolutely
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's not. It's not hitting me the same way. So yeah, I mean, if we see one or two more if we get one or two more chances to see her go through this process, then I think that's fantastic.
And that was my concern, is that I feel like this is just a tool to have Sam take over the football club, and then have Sam and Rachel end up together, and we'll never see Beast again. That's why I've been really hesitant about, okay, I don't know how to feel about this, because I'm pretty sure we'll never see another minute of it.
Yeah. I agree, and that's a concern to me as well. Like, if we were going on this journey with Beast, I think that would be interesting. But you're right. I honestly think this was just how they got her out of the show so that Sam could take over the football team, and that, again, it feels like a cheap way to dismiss a character that I've really grown to. There is no other character on TV like Coach Beast, and that is why. That was the great thing about Glee in its heyday, is that the characters on Glee were nowhere else on television, and that's exciting. And I'm not saying that this makes her somehow common, but it took away a little bit of the I don't know, because I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody going through what she's going through. It was just not the journey that I feel is truest to what we've seen of her up to this point. But I always look at this show through the prism of my parents, and I see my parents being like, well, she always looks like a dude, so obviously she'd want to become a dude. Whereas I'm much more interested in them going like, she's always kind of looked like a dude. It's interesting that she's feminine on the inside. Like, that's more surprising to people that with closed minds. So I don't know what that tone is that keeps beeping on
I feel
my
like it's Ed texting.
No,
No,
it's,
no. I'm not. I'm just here.
I feel like
Yeah.
somebody's IMing.
maybe somebody's
Do you have
IMing
like
me.
your regular IM
Do I have other
open?
things going on? I don't know. My regular.
Is it the chat?
It kind of looks like Google Plus. So who knows?
Yeah, everybody's phones are off. Well, Ed, do you want to weigh
Living
in on
the-
Coach Beast before we move on?
Living in a technological society.
I think it might be the chat that's making those noises.
Yeah, probably. Something like that.
Yeah.
Ed, do you want to weigh in on Coach Beast before we move on? Can you hear me?
Ed?
Are you gone?
What?
Ed's on
no,
hotel
what's that? No, I'm here. What did you say? I just took out my video, so I have a chance to actually have hope.
Oh, I said, do you want to weigh in on Coach Beast before we move on?
Okay. First off, when I came back in the conversation, and then Sammy was ranting about like how Sammy was she's like, I'm afraid for Glee to even tackle the subject because I know that they'll do it wrong. I'm like, oh, amen. I don't even know what the topic is, but I'm afraid. I agree. In Coach Beast, I did not think of the nefarious reasons that you're saying about just figuring out a way to get her off so that Sam could take over, and that is not what I thought. I thought they were somewhat being true to the character. But then now that I realize their nefarious plot, I'm like, oh, why was I giving them the benefit of the doubt?
It's like, why? I mean, okay, yes. So through the transition process, maybe she won't be available, but it's
She might not want to come back.
yeah. But I mean, got the support of the school and in Sue, and
But you're working with teenagers who knew her as a woman, who are not going to be kind.
that's true. Who now will be a man who so now will be a gay man.
I don't know.
No, but with yeah, I hope after the change happens, they don't, get rid of him for that reason.
No, they're not going to get rid of him because of that reason. They just aren't going to have him. Like I did not the second you said it was going to be just a shoehorn Sam to be the captain. That's it. I'm like, oh, well, that's the end of her. She will be with Britannia in the background at sectionals. they will have. I mean,
Wait, they can't perform.
no, they're not performing. Don't be serial.
Audience.
I was thinking as we watched it the second time how it's such a punchline that the graduating class, like the alumni, just has no other place to be, and they're constantly there.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Mercedes and Artie were gone. They apparently found some place to.
Mike
They have to go
Chang,
back to their lives.
And
Mike Chang, you couldn't even come at all because that's how straight up busy he is.
He really enjoys his college career as a dancer.
Well, aren't most of them unemployed anyway?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Money aside, they don't really have a lot of commitments going on.
Mike Chang fought his parents really hard to do what he wanted to do, and he's committing to it.
that's true.
And good on him.
Hey, there's a lesson to be learned here because Santana just got that money for Louisville, and she was like, whatever, I don't care. I'll just drop out of Louisville with my scholarship. No, ain't nobody care.
Oh yeah. And all the money that her mother saved for her. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
We did talk about going back to school this episode, going to NYU.
There was a girl I knew in college that she inherited like $15,000 from her grandmother when her grandmother died, and she literally spent it all like just being in Paris for a summer, and like I did not know her until about a year and a half after that, and she was like, I probably should have bought a car with that money. So I think there's a lesson here.
I don't know. It sounds like a pretty epic trip to Paris. I mean, she's gonna go down well.
My first trip to Paris in under 2,000. But then again, the airfare was $198.
Like,
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. She was stupid, and then she dropped out in her 7th semester. So she's like I actually should Facebook stalk her to see how her life has turned out. It's been 3 years since then. So
Write her into a Glee
We're way off
fan
into the
parody.
weeds.
yes, we are.
Let's.
I have. Oh,
Are we into the
I have
woods?
to
Are we
express
into
a
the
very
woods?
unpopular opinion, and nobody else may agree with me, but I feel like Klain has become the new Finchel. They had that montage in the beginning with the pictures. Not cool. But then when they interrupted the only two students that actually got to sing in this episode, all of a sudden jarring Klain flashback montage. And I was like, no, enough already. I'm sorry.
It's very true. That bothered me too. Like, what was it, Mason?
Jane.
Mason and Jane.
Actually got to sing, which was funny that Mason and Mallory weren't doing a duet because they obviously did the like fist bump, like, hey, we're totally going to sing together. And Mason, the nicest thing I can say about that kid is that he has a face for theater. Because on camera, all of his features are too big. But on stage, I think he would be lovely. Because from a distance, you'd be able to see all of his features.
Okay, what annoys me about what he's doing, what they're doing to the 3.0s, it's like they would not let Mason and Jane have their moment, like legitimately.
Yeah.
I was I was watching. I was like, oh, I can get behind this couple. That's cool. And then they're like, let's just spend 80% of the time on them on something else, and then
Right.
I'm like, ugh, fine. Hate on the 3.0s too. It's whatever.
It did
Whatever.
not make sense to, like, all of a sudden everything's, it's like, oh, Klain flashbacks, and then Kurt's just going to be a jerk, and, like, okay, well, what worked about last week's episode was everybody really liked the new kids and thinks they're pretty cool, and what was missing from this week's episode was the new kids actually, like, existing and getting to be part of it.
Yes.
And so I think for me, that's why it fell really flat. It's because the one time you shine the light on the new kids, Klain flashback. Again, we really love to just remember how it used to be really great over and over and over again.
Jennifer, what were you saying?
Oh, no, just it's agreeing. And it would have been nice to, well, like what Ed said in the beginning, we were kind of given the impression that everybody would get a chance. There's only 4 of them, so why wouldn't we see at least 2 mashups from, the 3.0s? But we didn't even get that. We only got 1.
Yeah.
So that was a little disappointing, but
I was envisioning. I was watching this episode, and at one point I had this like vision of an alternate season 6, which actually did take place 5 years in the future, and they all come back for a reunion, and they find out that there's like an alumni glee club competition, and they just get all the alumni together to form like the new directions. So no 3.0s, no McKinley, just all the alumni taking like a month to try to get their crap back together and put on a glee club and then compete against some kind of group of Vocal Adrenaline alumni. And I was watching it thinking like, I'm not going to think about this too long because that sounds amazing. And we wouldn't have to worry about McKinley drama. We wouldn't have to worry about 3.0s. Wouldn't have to worry about like, why are they all here? Don't they have jobs? Like,
but no,
so many better ways we could have done this.
They acknowledge the absurdity of them all being in the room in the first scene, and then they just shoot it down, and then they move on. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Touche.
We have to forgive and forget and just enjoy the moments, because we only have 10 more episodes, which means we probably, 30 great moments at best left? Let's just savor them.
You're optimistic.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's listen to some voicemails. We got 3, so here is the first one.
Hi, Josh and Ed. This is Dara calling from Ohio. Just wanted to leave a message. I love your podcast. I've been listening now for the past couple seasons of Glee, for better or worse, that wonderful show that we love. I just wanted to give my 2 cents about this new season. Really enjoying the show so far, 3 episodes in, and very happy. I will say, though, I'm a little trepidatious and scared about a personal favorite of mine, Mercedes. I've always felt like she's been a main cast member that's never actually been a main cast member. They give her wonderful things to belt and sing and kind of use songs to move through the landscape of the show, and her voice is amazing, so she can do that. But in terms of like character structure and growth, we know so very little about her character. We've never seen her parents. I mean, I think Amber Riley's real mom was in a chorus a couple times, but you know that's not the same as having like Audra McDonald play her aunt, which would be awesome. You know, something like that. I mean, these kind of staples of the main cast members, you get those moments into their life, and it's kind of special. And in terms of like Sam and Mercedes, you know, that's always felt kind of like a sad, hollow point, where I feel like the writers have never really understood how to kind of write for Mercedes, and therefore they don't kind of know how to write that dynamic, and they shoehorn it away, or, oh, dare I say it, you know, break them up all the time, and so that there can be more conventional relationships on that show. And I'm a little scared that they're going to do that again. There's the last 9 episodes to go. I've heard some rumors and spoilers about where Sam's relationship status might end, and I will say it will leave a very bitter taste in my mouth if that happens for a lot of reasons. But anyway, I feel like I'm running on a tangent. I just found it very interesting this past episode, Jagged Little Tapestry, the music was amazing. I loved all of that. And I'm a big Becky Jackson fan, but I feel like, again, we've had more of a story arc for Becky, who is amazing and probably should have been made a main cast member. Anyway, we've had more kind of growth for her character than we've ever seen for, you know, like Mercedes or even Artie for that matter. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents out in the world. I'll keep watching the show and listening to you guys, and just wanted to bring that up for a discussion point and see what your point of view is on that. If I'm wrong, or
Oh, I think it cut Dara off.
Oh.
Cut her off at 3 minutes. But thank you. And good to get some Becky love on the show.
Yeah.
some genuine.
And she's right about Mercedes. Like, that's something that I always kind of thought about, but she's one of the only, like, original main cast members that you never saw her family. You have no idea about her family.
No, she
We
never.
never said we
Oh,
heard
that's
about
true.
them.
Her and Tina, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've got at least one family member for everybody else, except for them.
Even
Yeah.
Mike Chang got some family on the show.
Both his parents.
Yeah. Well, here's another voicemail.
Hi, Justin. This is listener Sarah, and I have a 3-word review of the most recent episode, which is I am old. And I am old because after the premiere, where I knew maybe half the songs, this week I was like, oh, Jagged Little Pill and Tapestry, like, I love those albums. They're from, 20 years old and prior. So yeah, I'm old, but I did really like the music this week a lot. I did just see online, like, somebody mentioned, like, where is Brad, the piano player? And I was like, oh yeah, he hasn't been around. So maybe you guys have some insight into that. I don't know. You seem to be pretty aware of what
I know where Brad is.
Brad is doing.
It's around the corner.
I liked this episode, I think, overall. Maybe because I liked the music so much. It did still feel like old school Glee to me. The 2 sort of other plot lines, which with Coach Beast and Becky, like Becky's plot line, I think I liked if only because it was finally pointed out that Becky is a horrible person. And the fact that it was pointed out by Santana was pretty great. Like, I know Becky's never been a nice person, but I feel like no one's ever actually called her out on it that I can remember, so I really liked that. And the Coach Beast thing, like, I don't know. I think, I'm currently making my way very slowly through Transparent on Amazon, and I guess it's unfair to compare the two because it's completely different things, but since I am literally, like, watching Transparent currently, it's such a better show about that particular issue because that is the show. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. Also, I feel like the only callback that we have to that is just the fact that actress is sort of mannish, but I don't know, like there was a whole episode about her never getting kissed a couple of years ago, and like whatever. We'll see how that goes, or maybe it'll just be dropped and we'll never hear about it again. Anyway, and my favorite song from the episode was definitely the Look Me Tomorrow Hood of Her Feet mashup. I thought that was great. Really liked that one. I may even buy it. So anyway, curious what you guys think of this episode, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Transparent's amazing. Transparent is like annoyingly good. It's even so good you can watch it when you can't sleep because you have hand, foot, and mouth disease. That's how good
Wow.
it is. You can enjoy it at 4 o'clock in the morning with hand, foot, and mouth disease. And here we have one more voicemail.
Hey, Josh, Jen, and Ed, this is Alex.
First of all, it's so rare we get a voicemail from a dude. That's awesome. That makes me so happy. This is Alex.
I'm a long-time listener, but I haven't ever really left a voicemail before. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Jagged Little Tapestry. I really liked the episode, and the music was really, really nice. Of course, they cut Tina's and Quinn's duet. I wasn't surprised about that. But I thought that it was cool that they gave Kurt and Blaine a duet, and I knew that the episode was going to be a lot about them, but I really didn't like how they made the Jane and Mason duet of We Love Me Tomorrow and Head Over Feet about 85% Kurt and Blaine. I would have gotten maybe like 3 or 4 flashbacks, but not 10 or 11 like we got. I understand that this is going to be a really important plot point, but like I said, I really wish that they would have given what is essentially the first New Directions assignment that one of the members of New Directions did. They made it more about them than about Kurt and Blaine, which I mean I understand because it was a love song, but I still would have liked it better if we would have gotten a little bit more focus on the 3.0s. So, all right, guys, y'all have a good one. Bye.
What I think was great about the opportunity that we had with Grease was that it was as much about Marley and Ryder as it was about Rachel and Finn at the time.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very true.
So if there was something to say about the 2.0s, as the patrons say the 2.0s, it's like they were like at least trying to give us, but it's like 3.0s are like an afterthought. I almost like I understand they want to have Sue. I don't know. Like why are we even in William McKinley? I don't like.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess because they did, when they weren't at high school without Sue as a villain, they were just like lost. They were just lost in a sea, wharfing around or something. But
I mean, I'll be really upset next week if we don't get to see more of Roderick and Jane and the Wonder Twins, just because they finally bring the next generation of New Direction that actually can rally behind and maybe identify with and root for, and then you're not going to let us see them. It's like you're not going to give us anything more. And it's like, I understand, fine, we're not going to get huge story arcs in 13 episodes, but give us a little something.
Okay, except for no, that is no excuse. I think I'm saying huge story arcs should be more apt for 13 episodes because you don't have to worry about the ramifications of said huge story arcs. I disagree. They should be
go big or go home, Ed. Right?
Like, the lost factor.
And they're not. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, why can't? It's like the Glee writers, which I hope they're smarter than this, but it's like they're giving us 2 storylines that we're allowed to have continuity on that are for this season, which is the gay football player and Klain, and every other.
Sorry.
And then and every other storyline that isn't those 2 storylines has to be introduced and completed in that episode, and that is like the Glee audience. We have been through a lot. We are smarter than this. We have self-selected ourselves to a point of exhaustion, possibly. And like we can handle more than two storylines. Like isn't like when you're reading a book and you're like, oh, I simply forgot every detail about the last chapter. No, you don't say that.
No, and it's just what was it? Maybe like 4 cumulative minutes of Roderick in either his discussion with the the original cast or in his inner monologue, talking about walking down the hall, wanting to be invisible, having this great voice, but like his best friends are these incredible musicians. It's like I learned and felt more about him than any of the 2.0s. And it's like, I'm sorry you're embarrassed because your mother is overweight. I'm sorry you're embarrassed because your father is Jewish and your mother is black. Or, no, I'm sorry, your father's black and your mother's Jewish. I'm sorry you're embarrassed because, your learning disorder got overlooked, but nothing has changed. Like, you know this, but you're not taking the steps to fix it. There was so much more emotion and connection that came out of just those couple of minutes with this new character. I don't need a lot. Like, it doesn't to get a little bit more from them doesn't require a lot of screen time. You can finesse something there.
My favorite bit of like when they had they showed everyone in the classroom during the Britannia duet was Broderick's face. He looks so disinterested, and I'm like, that is this actor real to be New Direction 3.0 number. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Broderick, he was standing while watching Britannia, and he looked so disinterested because that was that person in real life realizing that he signed up to be New Direction's member 1 of 3.0. Like, it just nothing. Like, it was just very sad. That's all. Pandas.
Well, that's pretty much all I have, guys. Does anybody have anything else? Wrap this puppy up, Jennifer.
Yes, I acknowledge Sam's hair is darker. I do feel like maybe it's a stupid plot or ploy to make us think that he's smarter because he's not blonde anymore. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm fake blonde, so I can say this. I don't know. You really know a lot more.
Yeah. Ed, anything else?
San Francisco is epic. I'm so excited that I'm here now, and I get to come back in a little bit, in like 2 weeks. I'm leaving on Thursday, but I'm coming back next Sunday, so it's like, whatever. I never leave this town. What up?
And Sammy, any final words on the show?
Only that I think that Kurt and Rachel are really, really bad teachers. And I'm really hoping this gets better because it's been hard to watch.
That's
okay,
fair.
but one question. Do you think they're the worst that McKinley has ever had?
No.
Okay.
Well, sister.
Okay.
Hola, clase. So, and my final word is, my favorite thing about recording is after I said my crazy idea about how season 6 should have been 5 years in the future and they were in an alumni glee club, 2 comments in the chat room came at exactly the same moment. One was listener Catherine saying, "Josh, I love you, but that sounds terrible." And immediately at the same second, listener Brandy wrote, "Josh, I love your idea. Somebody needs to tell Ryan Murphy." This is pretty much that's a microcosm of my life right there.
That is.
That's what that was.
Wow.
It sums up the Glee fandom pretty well, too.
Yes, exactly. That's why we're still here, ladies and gents. The Gleeful podcast continues for exactly that. For exactly that reason. But thank you for joining. Thank you, all of you, for joining us tonight. If you'd like to weigh in on anything we said, you can email us at gleefulpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at gleefulpodcast. I'm at Josh Purnell. She's at Jenny B. Creative. He's at Edward Giordano, and she's at Sammy Higgins, S-A-M-I Higgins, as in John Michael, I suppose. And you can find us on the Facebook. Just search for Gleeful Podcast. For the Gleeful Podcast with Josh and Ed, I'm Josh.
I'm Jen.
I'm Ed.
And I'm Sammy.
Yes! Winners all
Nailed
around.
it.
Good night, everyone.
It's the morning sun. spite of me. And don't be alarmed if I fall head over feet. And don't be surprised if I love you for all that you are. Will you still love me tomorrow? You've already won me over. Will you still love me tomorrow? Yeah. Will you still love me tomorrow? Yeah, yeah.
That was abrupt. All right.
That was probably my favorite one.
That was so. Well, I mean, and that's actually one of my favorite songs of hers. But I still love that opening song.
Oh yeah, well, and it wasn't a mashup. Everything's better if it's not a mashup.
Yeah.
Why was there no beautiful? How can you do beautiful? Think of Haley Reinhart. How do they not do?
How could they disrespect you like that, Ed?
Maybe everybody knows that they should never touch it after Haley did it.
There you go.
No, fun fact, no. No one even knows Haley anymore.
She's still around. I think she did an EP.
Well, they did that
No,
last year when they did the baby.
No, that was years ago.
I'm so out of time.
No. But you know what she just did? She just did. Do you know Retro Jukebox by Scott Bradley Loves Ya?
Nope.
I think this is the YouTube channel that's relatively popular. She guest starred on there. So.
Oh, by the way, I know somebody mentioned Brad earlier. I just finished watching Gilmore Girls twice. He showed up twice.
I love Gilmore. I love me some Gilmore Girls.
I finally saw the finale for the first time ever. I watched it live, but somehow I never saw the finale.
Oh my God! I just have been
Netflix binging.
Yeah. I have.
She like motored through that.
Sammy Higgins likes this.
Yay!
I mean, I own the DVDs, so I've been through that show quite.
My
a few
mother
times.
has the DVDs, and like maybe someday I'll go back and pick out certain ones I want to see. Although I could just do that on Netflix.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
But it's
Ed,
so
are
good.
you available to record that next week?
Yes. Hold on. Yes. Next week I should be in Indianapolis, but the week after that I'll be back in San Francisco for 2 more weeks.
Okay, but when are we thinking? Like Saturday?
Oh, Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
Saturday morning we'll still be in Ventura, and then Saturday at 1 I'm getting my hair done.
Yeah, so Sunday.
So Sunday would be better for me, preferably.
Sunday, and we're doing the float.
Oh, we're doing the floats?
Yeah, so we
the float.
isolation, water flotation.
What time at Sunday night or Sunday afternoon?
Let's do Sunday night, like the old days.
Okay, Sunday night. That should be more than okay with me.
All right, cool.
More than okay.
Sounds like a plan.
25th.
All right. Well, we will talk to you then, Ed and Sammy. We will talk to you later. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, can we get Tiffany on in the future? I would love to have her.
I'll see if Tiffany wants to come on next week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you
Guest
soon.
hosts
Good night, everyone.
roll in.
Bye.